Hey, episode 214 on Musings. I'm back, everybody. How y'all doing?
Doing good. Glad to have you back.
Yeah.
You fresh from your adventures to Vegas with Connie the Comic-Con mom,
Yep.
Kevin, and the amazing Brandy.
Yeah, had a great time. The only thing missing was you and Jill. We wish you guys could have been out with us. We'd have had a blast. So.
The pictures were great. You guys always find such fun things to do. The one that really caught my eye was that railway thing you were doing. It
yeah,
like you pedal.
That was awesome. It was. They either have 2 or 4 person. They may even have a bigger one, but I know I saw 2 or 4 people carts, and they're on a rail. You're on a train track. So I don't know if they actually built those tracks, or my assumption is because it does continue on. It's an old rail line anymore that they bought to create this. So they're in a few different states. I believe they're up in like Vermont, somewhere in the Dakotas, and it's basically the same thing. You get on this cart and you pedal down through, and it was last time. So we're seeing the sun go down over the mountains that are near us. They said watch out for wildlife. We really didn't see any wildlife. Did see a couple bats.
Did you say I am the wildlife?
Yes. But it was fun. It's a 4-mile trek. And of course, you think, oh, I got to pedal the whole time. You can if you want. Really, once we got it going, you didn't have to continue pedaling because you're going downhill for most of it. There was a part, though, towards the end where you have to pedal. And that was the hard part because you're going uphill just a little bit to the last little section where you get off and then they look together. And then they send down an old train with a few cars for you to sit in. One we sat in the open air one. And they take you back up to the station. Which that was kind of fun because it was dark. You could see the stars then and everything else. And nice. It was a blast. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time doing that. They do a couple different ones, like the one they were doing after us because we did the I think it was the 6:30, 7:30, 7:30 or whatever. I forget what time it was. It was getting dark, and then there's one afterwards, and that one was a kind of a boozy one, but you have to have a designated driver because I guess you can drink all the way. And then they do a morning one as the sun's coming up, and they even do one in the morning with squirt guns where you can shoot everybody. So they have like a squirt gun area before you get on or something like that. So I don't know. It seemed like they have a lot of fun with it. Really enjoyed it. It was out in I'm gonna say Boulder City, and that's where the dam is. Hoover Dam's out that way. Yep. Nice. And we went out and had dinner at this brewery that's in town. There's the Boulder City Brewery. That was really good food, good beers. Would definitely like to go, and Kevin and Brandy agree too. Is we all like to go down in the daytime and explore the town because it still feels like the town's stuck in 1985,
right?
Just because a lot of cool looking shops. You can tell it's a very artistic community, stuff like that. And then of course I still like to go see the dam because I've never actually seen the dam up close, and it's really not that far from Vegas. Only about a half hour, 40 minutes, I think it was.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, I got to go to the dam. So 1998. So it's been a long time for me, but we had the tour. We were able to go inside the dam. I don't know if they allow it. I know they stopped it for a long time after 9/11 because they were worried it was going to be a terrorist strike, possibly be a target. So I don't know if they ever reopen the inside to tours, but it's really amazing to see if they do allow it. And just walking on it, it's amazing the height and scale of everything.
Yeah, I know they changed it where there's a highway that bypasses it now. You no longer drive over it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you used to drive over it.
I saw that.
And of course, everything there, I don't know about where you were, but when you go to the dam, everything is a play on the word dam. So this dam, I got a damn shirt, the damn hot dog, everything was dam.
I saw a few things like that in town. So I was definitely, they definitely did that. So, but yeah, we the beauty of Vegas. So many people think of Vegas is 2 things, gambling and drinking. And, while we did do some of that's not what we're, want to do all the time. To me, that gets kind of boring anyways. Hey, Kev. And, but we, we like to do that. We have a lot of great restaurants we go to. And then, as Kevin goes, we're kind of old now, but, we are got to the point where like, hey, we'll hang out in the room and play some cards. So we played some 5 Crowns. They introduced us to a game called Sky Joe. That was great. So, stuff like that. But, it's just fun hanging out with good friends and everything else. And then last couple nights, hanging out at the tables. Kevin's turned me on to roulette quite a bit, and So we had a lot of fun playing that, and you get a good group around the table. It actually just ends up being a lot of fun, and
Definitely.
so we had a great time. It was
Awesome.
a blast. I love going there, and definitely go back that next year, convention
Great
or
place
no.
to go. Yeah, it's a great place to go.
Yeah. So and how was your week?
Just busy. A lot of real estate. I'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. Got to watch Loki. We watched Bad Batch. Saw Black Widow. Saw Quiet Place 2 finally. So we did that stuff for fun. But here it's just been rain. It's like every time we try to plan something, it's rain. So it's just frustrating. After a year of lockdowns, it's like, oh, we can finally do something, and no.
Well, I noticed, I definitely a lot more humidity when I came back. Not because I came from a desert to here, but it's definitely increased even more than when I left.
Very humid.
But I noticed too, the mosquitoes are just crazy this last week.
Yeah, definitely. So, I saw a meme where it was from Jurassic Park, the big pterodactyl, and it's like actual picture of Michigan mosquitoes.
Yeah, so that's what kind of crazy. Hey, we got a lot to talk about, so let's get some ad reads out. I'll start us off real quick with Loringer Family Chiropractic, located in Belleville, Michigan, and Dexter, Michigan. And at Loringer Family Chiropractic Center, PC, they take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient, offering on-site digital x-rays, massage therapy, orthotics by foot levelers, young living essential oils, aromatherapy, full line of vitamins, all in a family-oriented environment. Give a call, 734-697-4244. Visit them online at LoringerFamilyChiropractic.com. As always, we have a link to everything on the website, oddmusings.com. So definitely check them out. And of course, this is their Facebook page at Loringer Family Chiro. Check them out there. You can call right from there, like the page. They haven't posted anything in a while, and I think part of it is because the person that handles the posting is out of town for a few weeks. So
okay.
They got a lot of cool stuff going on there. So definitely check out Loringer Family Chiropractic. They've been with us pretty much since day one.
Definitely. And also Team Titans Real Estate. Why? Because you matter. That's right. At Team Titans Real Estate, we recognize that, the tools and social media, all those things, they're always changing and evolving, and some for the better sometimes. But what never changes is real estate is a people business. And that's what we always keep in mind. This week, still crazy market. It's really up and down. It starts to look, we're definitely getting a big surge of listings, and that's still occurring. And the flood of listings is huge, but we're still getting these crazy offers in. So, it was starting to feel like it was leveling off, but I honestly cannot tell you. I don't know. We just had a particular house. We had we put up for sale. We had a great bidding war, appraisal guarantees, all those kind of things were included. So our sellers are very happy with the result. It was actually accepted last night. So, it's a very turbulent market. And with that, you want realtors who are paying attention. You really can't just casually dip your toes in this market and get it right. You really can't. There's so much nuance at different price levels, different areas, different locations. You can get very different market conditions just a couple miles apart even. So, you want realtors who are full-time. That's the other thing. A lot of part-time realtors out there. They're working a normal job. They're doing their thing, and they're hoping that they, in their spare time can manage your deal. And this is the largest financial asset of your life in most cases. And you want somebody who takes it serious. So that's what Jill and I do. We stay up to date on what's going on and pass that knowledge on to you. So give us a call. 586-549-6096 is my number. And then there's Jill.
Good morning.
Hey, Jill.
586-277-2145.
Could you hear that?
Yes.
It was 586-277-2145. So give us a call. We're here to help you and make you some money.
Awesome.
And then last but not least, we should promote our Bardstone.
Yeah, we've got
announcements.
Got an announcement with that too, and I'll be working on a new video this week for that. So
there's our Bardstone page. Kevin Meinert just posted the announcement for Poe Macabre Master 3 launches next week.
Yep.
So it'll be on the 21st. Let me open this up here if I can see that little barcode. Let's see. It doesn't let me click on it to make it bigger. I have to do it through our Facebook page. But anyways, if you go to our Facebook page, you can scan that code, and it will take you to the sign up for our email. So I'm going to be putting together an email to everyone who has already signed up, announcing Kevin's launch next week and giving you the details there. So stay tuned.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. He just sent me a bunch of stuff to go over, so I will be putting together a cool little production video for us. So we can definitely
and an update on Crimson Shadows 2. The final packages have been mailed.
Yes,
so
I got mine.
Oh, there you go. Brett got his. Very nice.
Yeah,
they came out great. I was so happy with the quality. The final batch to go out was the international shipping. Those went out yesterday. So if you did that, you never know. Those can take a week to 3 weeks to get there. It just depends on the system.
Right.
So the final piece of the puzzle will be the digital. Now that everything's mailed out, end of this week or beginning of next week, I'm going to send everyone their links. I want to give everyone time to receive their copy so they can experience it in the paper format first. And then I'm going to send out the links for your digital copies. So stay tuned about a week from now or less.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah, we've got a lot of cool stuff. You brought a bunch of stuff over to the house here. We were hoping to see you last week when we got in, but
real estate popped up. It really is crazy, and that's part of being a realtor and why a full-time realtor matters, because you try to plan. On one hand, being a realtor is very flexible. You make your own schedule. On the other hand, you have no flexibility because you got to be available for the clients when they need you. Right. So it just you think you have the evening open, and all of a sudden like that you could be doing showings, writing offers, and seeing what comes up. So.
Yeah, and I've been listening to what you've been saying about the change in, while it's still kind of crazy with the offers and hearing stuff like that. I think with now that you're talking about increase in listings, we're starting to see we're in that middle transition period. So it's one of those things where if you really wanted to sell your home, but you think you're going to wait, sell now if you have the ability to do it, because you're going to get more now. I think we're looking at in the next couple months here, especially as summer ends, prices are going to kind of settle down a little bit, especially offers. They may not be as crazy as they are now.
Right. Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So cool. Well, it's been a busy couple weeks since I was here, and my fan club's here. Hey, Stacy.
You do it. Yeah,
I was good. There we go, Stacy. I haven't seen Stacy in a couple weeks. She works at one of the stores I go to. Yeah. Love Stacy. She's awesome. She's a good friend, and love seeing her. I'm glad she's gotten a chance to pop on here. So she's on her break right now. So Stacy, enjoy your break. I hope we can listen for a while.
Yep, I believe she popped in last week saying she missed you.
Yeah, I was eating breakfast during the time that the show was on, and then we were.
Oh, the show was hard last week. I won't lie.
You had no one to talk to, huh?
It was just me.
I popped up for a quick second, was going to say hi, but we just didn't have time. And,
it's okay.
And that stuff.
It was brutal, but I got through it.
Yep. Well, it happened. Sorry.
Hey, it's fine. It got really busy. I was hoping to schedule a guest, but it just didn't pan out. So that's okay.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
So, in the last couple of weeks, I did watch. I watched the 2 Lokis. I watched last week's episode. I'm halfway through this week, so of course we're not going to talk about that at all this week, anyways. So I'm caught up on that.
We'll talk about that next week. The final.
I stayed caught up on the Bad Batch. I had my tablet with me, so I had like a little bit to watch when I went to Vegas. We wake up early in Vegas because it's like you just can't sleep because you're still messed up on time a little bit. So I popped that on and watched it, and that. So it was fun to watch that, and I'm loving Bad Batch. I still start off with Bad Batch to get that out of the way. We had a great last week's episode, though. It was it's funny is I've seen so many more criticisms since last week's episode continue, and they want to say, "Oh, it's too much trying to tie into this, that, and the other." I'm like, of course it is. This series is bridging the gap between Star Wars Episode 3, the Clone Wars cartoon, and Rebels. It's all that combined, as well as they're starting to introduce little things I think we're going to see play out in going forward series that they're going to be launching over the next couple of years.
Yeah. This last episode of Bad Batch, we got Hera.
Yep.
In it. So that does raise the question now. I wonder, will we see Zeb's world, the invasion of his world, and how he thought he was the last one? Are we going to see Sabine? Like, it seems like now that they've worked in 2 of the Rebels characters, maybe they'll work in all of them.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that we're going to see more and more of them, and it's I think it's exciting myself. I'm enjoying it. It is called the Bad Batch, and it is definitely just a continuation of the Clone Wars. But that's what I'm finding the most fun about it is we're seeing the transition in the galaxy. We're seeing things kind of like we got shown a little bit of in the Solo movie of
Yes.
the different changes, stuff like that. So they're really just fleshing out that whole world, and I still think that's Filoni's plan is to continue to flesh out that whole time period to go forward past Jedi even better. Because there's so much gap in there they'll be able to work with, and with them making announcements like, oh, we don't want an Ahsoka series. There's been rumors of a new Luke Skywalker series, and things like that. We know we got the new Boba Fett series, the Mandalorian 3, and we've got Kenobi. So a lot of this stuff I think is, and Kenobi of course takes place in between episode 3 and 4. So it's all this stuff I think is all just playing a major part in them really fleshing out the universe that is Star Wars. So.
I agree. Yeah, really well done. Filoni is just such a master of telling stories, even like minutia details. Like for instance, Ryloth is Hera's home planet, and that's where the Twi'leks are from. And like he was talking about how they're mining it for supplies. Well, it turns out it's for the Death Star. Well, if you look on the map of the Star Wars galaxy map, they're like a neighboring planet to the planet where the Death Star is being built. So it's like, from a logistics standpoint, it would make sense for that planet to be the location and stuff. So like he gets like even the minutia details always right,
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is Filoni is such an uber Star Wars nerd. He really is the guy that would know the combination if this was Star Trek and wouldn't have to ask Captain Kirk that. But he knows all these little things. He looks up. He's read all the stuff. He's read all the comics.
He's
read all
it.
Yeah, he pretty much has. I mean, you go watch the Making the Mandalorian. He talks about it. Oh yeah, I got the job for Clone Wars, and I was making my own Jedi outfit. Yeah. Why? Because he wanted to, not because of anything else. He's just like us. He's just the uber nerd who comes to Star Wars, loves it, loves everything about it, and just wants to see it thrive in good storytelling. And unfortunately, we got someone like a Filoni that can tell good stories and create good stories, and works with someone like Favreau very well, where they create some great stuff within the Star Wars universe. So.
Definitely.
So we only got a couple more episodes left. We got this week, 1, 2, 3 more episodes, I think is what we got left.
Yeah.
So it's coming up fast. So
we got that. And with Loki, today's episode is the final for that series. Well, for the season. And then
they have announced a couple more seasons of Loki will probably happen. So
now we have What If in a couple weeks, right? That starts in August.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That starts right in August, and the trailer for that looked really cool.
Looks
it's animated.
Interesting. Yeah, I like the animation style.
And that one's going to explore a lot of different aspects. I think that will also play part in the multiverse within that. So yeah, so we can get a little bit into Loki now.
Sure.
Bad Batch. I mean, the beauty of Bad Batch is it's not a deep show,
right?
But we're seeing a lot of cool stuff. That this first season is all set up, I believe, for the next.
The major thing with the last episode, Bad Batch, I'd say Omega. We find out she's a super brilliant strategist. And she was able to win a lot of money. In fact, pay off the debt for the Bad Batch so they can be free from what they owed. What's her name? Danny DeVito's wife. It was the voice.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So it's kind of cool that they did that, and she's able to. Now they can kind of move on from that.
We have a new clone that we were introduced to. Howitzer, I think was his name. He's kind of like the new Captain Rex for this series, I think. I wonder if we'll see more of him, but he was working on Ryloth there with the Harris family. So it'll be interesting to see how he develops. But yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited about all that. It's just one thing about this series is it won't be right away, but I will go back and rewatch this first season again, and where I can kind of almost binge it a little bit. But I like watching it week to week, so we can digest it, but then binge it later on too. Doing that with Rebels, it really opened up a lot more things that I missed during even the initial run through. So cool. So Loki. I guess we got 2 episodes to cover, episode 4 and 5. So I guess we'll start with 4.
Rhea Perlman, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, Rhea Perlman. Okay. Yeah. That's right. Yep. Danny's wife. Actually, they're not married anymore. They got divorced.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, several years ago.
I mean, to be honest, I didn't even know she was still alive. When I read she did the voice, I'm like, really? So, Brett's frozen there. So, or he's just in a severe state of confusion there. and awestruck by my words. So I will go forward in case people are watching me and can't hear him. Or maybe I'm the frozen one. I don't know. Let's see here. So Brett was talking about we were watching Loki. We got some. Let's add him back to the screen. Yeah, his is definitely frozen. So hopefully you're all hearing me still. So with Loki, we had the last 2 episodes revealed a lot, and we're going into the newest one, which got released this morning. It's the season finale, but we're not going to talk about that. So we're going to talk about everything as though we haven't seen the season finale yet. So let's get on to here. Okay, it looks like Brett signed off. Thanks, Laura. Brett signed off, so he's going to be signing back in. So I'll just eat up some time here while he's signing back in. But what was awesome about this episode last week of Loki is we really got into the huge realm of variants that exists for the Lokis, and just how many different versions there are. It was a lot of fun. It had some great Easter eggs throughout this episode. And we also see where everyone gets sent to when they are pruned from the timeline, so to speak. So with that, throughout the series, when someone got pruned, we thought they were disintegrated and destroyed. Turns out they're being sent to the end of time, to this location. Oh, is that Brett? Brett's signing in. We may have him. There he is.
My internet router decided to restart. So
yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So I was just eating up time talking about how in this last Loki, we got to experience all of the variants of Loki.
Yeah, and it's funny is how everybody has decided that the alligator Loki is the one.
Yeah. For me, honestly, I absolutely loved classic Loki.
Yes.
He was great. Richard Grant, I believe is his name, the actor.
He's a great character actor. He's been around for a long time, and I've seen him, and he pops. He's British. He's popped up many different things, but definitely a fun actor. In
recent interviews, he was saying he wanted them to give him a muscle suit, but they didn't. But actually, I think it works better because he lived his life in exile. You know, he was the one Loki that stopped being Loki. You know, he decided he got bored with always being a troublemaker. But what we learned from here is all versions of Lokis are backstabbers and double crossers, and our Loki kind of figures this out. You know, watching how all his other Lokis behave, I think kind of disgusted him.
Yeah,
with all these different variants, I like people doing memes showing the variant of Mobius, Lightning McQueen.
Yeah,
that would have been cool.
Yeah, I love that I like how they have a little fun with all this stuff, and especially with like all these different variants here. I mean, you even get another Tom Hiddleston looking variant in that stuff. But yeah, the Richard Grant one though, is my favorite. And
what I find interesting is not one single variant is blue skinned. So no matter what version of Loki we saw, I mean, there's a Snoop Dogg Loki. Look at it. but there's no blue skin Loki, which is his actual skin because he's an ice giant. So no matter what version of Loki there is, they're all in like denial of their actual origin, it seems like.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's the way to go. I think they didn't do a blue skin one on purpose, just to continue that. But at the same time, you know, I don't think we saw all the variants of Loki there probably are. And with continued series, maybe we'll see some more down the road, including a blue skin one. But I did like the kid too, the kid Loki. And he goes, "I killed Thor." It's like, oh my god, you know?
Yeah, we got to see what happened to him if he killed Thor.
Yeah.
And this also answers the question that they kept asking: what makes a Loki a Loki? And what we find out is all beings that are pruned, all these millions and millions of different timelines that have been pruned and sent here, only Lokis survive. So what makes a Loki is they are survivalists. They always make it through. Yeah,
they find a way to get through, and that's the thing about Loki is
until they're all next to each other, then they kill each other.
Well, yeah, but even then, there was like only certain ones. It was like most part they were all still surviving.
Mhm.
And they had their own little clique. It was like a smaller clique of the Lokis was the cool Lokis.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This was a fun version of Loki here. He had like Loki for president on it, pin on his shirt, and it was fun.
Yeah,
but
so that was fun. Yeah, and then
there's
of course,
another.
we learned.
Go ahead.
Sorry, am I still cutting out?
I don't know, that or a weird time delay I think is happening. Maybe the TVA is interfering.
Yeah, they don't like us talking about this timeline here.
One of the theories out there is each episode represents one of the Infinity Stones, and that there was a major color scheme that fit each episode with the corresponding Infinity Stone. Mm-hmm. And then the theme of that episode kind of fit each stone too. So don't know if that was intentional or not, but it definitely, when they laid out their theory, it does seem to fit. And they predicted this would be a blue tinted one, and it was. And they predicted he would be traveling through time and space because it's the Tesseract is the blue stone. So it was interesting. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it was cool.
Well, I think it was. I haven't finished the final episode to see if they relay that, but I think that that makes a lot of sense, and because everything has been since the first Avengers movie, especially everything tied around the Infinity Stones in one way or another, whether they was intentional in the movies or not. So I think kind of mirroring that is a good way to introduce that capability of here's all this power that is available, and they're kind of traveling through all of that right now. And of course, it makes sense since he stole the Tesseract during the end game, and that's how he disappeared, and that's how we got him in that. So, but we did have a nice little cameo in this one, Lady Sif.
Oh yeah, that one was. Oh yeah, that was this episode. No, that was the episode before.
Jamie Alexander was in episode 4.
4. Yep, episode 4. That was a great one. And she is confirmed.
Episode 4.
Yeah, she was in episode 4, and she is confirmed to be in Thor: Love and Thunder. So they're bringing her back for that.
Good. I liked her a lot. Yeah, I liked her a lot. I like to see them do more with her. It felt like they introduced her. We're going to see something, and then really didn't. So
yeah,
because she popped up onto Shield. I know I can see on my screen my internet's kind of wonky again, so just kind of watching.
That's okay. So. We'll make do.
So, yeah. So, but then we got, so that was 4. We got episode 5.
Episode 5 is where we go to the end of time and we meet Eliath. Is that how you pronounce the monster's name?
Yes, I would say Eliath. Yeah, it sounds like Goliath, but it comes out as Eliath.
Right. So he kind of consumes all matter, and he's kind of like the death sentence for all pruned timelines. But he resembled a lot the smoke monster from Lost.
Yes.
that was when you saw those smoke tendrils going, I'm like, is this from Lost? I wonder if that was inspired by that.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. It felt like it was from Lost. I felt the same way. But they basically realized they have to disable the monster, Eliath. It's not, again, I thought they're saying Goliath the whole time. And to get into where they need to go to, which is still within the same realm that they're in.
Mm-hmm. There were tons of Easter eggs in this episode too.
Yes. Yeah, this one was full.
Did you see the frog Thor?
Yes.
Trapped in the jar there. Evidently, there was a scene they wanted. I guess they had at least the animatics of Frog Thor fighting someone, but they said it just distracted too much from the storyline, so they had to scrap it.
Yeah.
They also had.
Go ahead.
What about the bad guy from the first Ant-Man? What was his name? I forget his name. Not Hornet, Yellow Jacket, whatever his name was. You see a
Yellow
giant
Jacket.
version of his helmet on that planet that they're at. So it shows that's where he was sent.
And I was reading there's a lot of speculation we're going to see him return in the next Ant-Man movie, which is still a couple years away.
Okay.
So and so I think that's kind of cool that we may see him come back. Of course, setting up this multiverse stuff that we see within Loki, there's a good chance we can see a lot of different people come back in different variations because they're all variants. So
yeah, because not only are we dealing with time, we're dealing with multiverses. So yeah, like if Scarlett Johansson ever wants to come back, they can bring her back because she'll just be from she'll be a variant. That's all.
Exactly.
Or they can just recast someone and say it's a variant from another timeline.
Well, and that's the beauty. They can do that all day long. Is just have that.
And what's nice is this also breaks. The biggest problem Marvel has between its comics and its movies is the movies have real life people. We truly age, and eventually we're too old to play a certain part. Whereas in the comics, they can keep bringing Bruce Wayne back over and over again as Batman. Mm-hmm. So, when you have a multiverse type thing like this, you can recast it with a new actor, and it fully fits in the whole universe, and you can move on with the story without anybody having issues of a new Batman or a new Thor or a new whatever. So that is one of the benefits of that. But you got to be careful too, because you can easily fall into a trap like the Flash TV series, where you get stuck in a cycle where it becomes too much of a crutch and you start sacrificing story because it's so easy to just rely on the timeline, the multiverse to explain away things. So you got to be careful.
That's part of the reason I stopped watching The Flash was it got too much of the time travel. They kept, even they were referring to it too much as, we got to stop doing this, and they kept doing it. But I did see I guess they got 150 episodes in now and 7 seasons. So, it's good that the superhero shows continue, and I hope people are enjoying it. So I haven't watched it in a few years because I just got tired of the repetitiveness of it.
Right.
And so,
and there's something to be said for the tension. Once you make it so a character never truly dies, as an audience member, you lose that tension of, oh my God, are they going to make it through this? You no longer care because they'll just bring them back some other way. So there is a danger too of falling too much into multiverse where you no longer fear for the character. And once that happens, you get bored.
Right.
So,
well, that's where I think with, showing the different Lokis is they've already basically said that if we do have multiverse versions of other people, we're going to have different versions of them completely.
So. Jill was chiming in.
Yeah.
She couldn't hear. Brett was actually saying similar thing.
Oh, I was just saying when I was watching The Flash, I lost interest because there was just too many worlds that they could come back. World 2, World 3. And it gets to the point where you're like, this is ridiculous. It's not believable anymore. And I completely lost interest. So just an example of backing up what Scott was saying.
And inadvertently what Brett was saying, because that's exactly what Brett was saying.
Yeah, it does.
And here's what's funny about Jill.
Yeah.
Once she feels it's no longer believable, she's out. So I'll just throw this in really quick. We went and saw A Quiet Place too. You know what I'm going to say. Here, you say it.
All right. So for Quiet Place 2, they're in a life-death situation. Every moment counts. But one thing I couldn't get over is never in the whole entire movie did they eat, drink, or use a bathroom. How do they still have the strength to fight all these monsters and travel long distances, but never needed water or nourishment? That's impressive.
So this is why Jill likes Tom Hanks' movie, because he goes to the bathroom in every movie. She's like, they didn't go to the bathroom.
Well, and that makes sense. I watched that.
So unrealistic.
I watched that yesterday too, and we can switch over to that topic now. Is Quiet Place 2 real quick? The first one was fine. I enjoyed the first one. Okay, I was never a big fan of it. The second one I think was just ridiculous from multiple levels. One is, and you and I talked about this in the first one. You got a deaf girl, and she can't hear anything, but supposedly she's the only one that can move silently. She wouldn't know she's moving silently. We've talked about this.
Right.
And the same thing. It's a good thing she didn't eat or drink, because if she had ate, she'd been cracking them off left and right, not realizing she's blowing behind her, That's the hard problem. And I like the girl.
Yeah.
The girl's a good actress. She's really good.
Yeah.
And it's the same girl from the first one. She's a good actress. Nothing against that. But when you try to be quiet, she wouldn't know if she's stepping quiet or anything. It's just because she's lightly putting her foot down. She wouldn't know if she's hitting something that's making all kinds of noise or anything.
Yeah, when I had deaf coworker, deaf people are actually very loud because they don't know the sounds they're making. So yeah, that part annoyed me. As far as the movie goes, just taking on the surface, they did a good enough job. Like they had some jump scares in there. Yeah. Even in places where you were expecting them, but they still did a good job of presenting them. Was this movie needed? No, they really didn't need to make this movie. I think it was a fun movie to go see once, but like I'll never watch it again.
I had no plans to, and because it was free on Paramount Plus to watch if you have the service for that. It's the only reason I watched it.
Yeah, as Jill's saying, and the kids, I forgot how much I wanted those kids to die in the first movie. They're so annoying. They don't listen to any instructions.
They made the son, just super wimpy.
Oh yeah.
I think, and what irritated me was, I mean, the whole thing was pretty well telegraphed on how everything was going to go.
Yes.
And when it ended, though, I was actually kind of mad. I was like, really? You're going to end it right there?
Right.
That's your ending? This is no.
Yeah. I didn't feel the movie was needed at all. If you're looking for a reason to get out of the house, yeah, I mean,
go see Black Widow.
Yeah, it's PG-13, so like if your kids want to go see The Purge and you're like you're too young for that, maybe take them to this because there are some jump scares. Like I said, I could see like a 13-year-old really liking it. My annoying part is just like everything nowadays, the adults were portrayed as complete morons, and the world can only be saved by some 12-year-old. The 12-year-olds are smarter and more knowledgeable than anybody else. And like I told Jill, until these 12-year-olds can actually prove they can make a bed, I don't want to hear about how they're going to save us from the world's humanity. The other thing I didn't understand is these aliens. Yeah. So they can travel across the universe, but they can't figure out how to cross water.
Well, they can't swim. Well, here's the thing, though.
But they don't have a vehicle?
Well, here's the thing, though. The thing is this. We saw them coming in, which is, I did like that part. The beginning of this movie actually showed the initial invasion of these creatures. Yes. What we don't know is, are they the creatures that actually came across the universe, or were they sent by someone else? I'm thinking they were sent, and these are just like, they're like an alien type creature that people are like, okay, we got these, send them to this planet, it wipes out the life, and these people come in, and then they harvest the earth for its resources, and which is a typical plot for many alien invasion movies.
But like, however they landed, it had to be a landing. Like it wasn't a crash, because a comet that something that size, a meteor that size coming through the atmosphere, if it crashed, that would have been the equivalent like 1,000 nuclear bombs going off.
Right.
And well, that
when you saw it coming in and you didn't have this, so I think it was an actual craft that landed, but the craft itself was probably drone piloted, and those creatures are not the ones that created it. So, they were basically unleashed onto the earth.
Right. But even with that premise, so even if you have an alien entity sending them, you're invading a planet that's like 80% water, and you're going to send creatures that don't know how to swim, or at least give them some kind of vehicle to cross water.
Well, if they don't, if they figure that it's what they're probably not doing is it maybe not even 100% wipeout. It's just a majority of the people get wiped out. They know that if the people themselves can't live on the water 100%, and they'd have to come on land eventually because of repairs to the vehicle, stuff like that. So realistically, the creatures not being able to swim, they just drown or whatever. Probably doesn't matter because they're expendable creatures. So it's just something that, they're just like, hey, here's 1 million of them, drop them down. They'll probably breed and take over, and then they probably have something where they can come in and take off. So if they do a third movie, they probably should show the actual aliens that are controlling them.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. But yeah, the movie overall, if you just turn your brain off, it can be enjoyable. Yeah. But it's wholly unnecessary. I agree. Didn't need to be made.
But there were, and I agree, there were things in it I liked. There was some interesting storytelling I liked of here's what's going on in the world now.
I thought the one actor did good. He was Scarecrow in the Batman movie. I don't know if he was like the uncle in this one, but he was helping the deaf girl.
Yeah, he was a friend because they showed him at the ball game, and he was listening to the radio when all that started, with the Yankees game. And
so I thought they did a good job with him. his character was good.
Yeah, he was fine. His character's fine. Even the we had the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy, that Star-Lord first meets.
Yeah,
At the beginning of the movie. So he was running that one community, and we see that there's some things there. But I knew exactly what was going to happen.
Yep, you could tell.
Right there. It was the whole movie was telegraphed from point to point very easily, so you're not going to be overly surprised story wise.
And to me, it reminded me of the Sam Jackson moment in Deep Blue, but except his was actually surprising when it happened.
Yeah,
was it Deep Blue when the shark?
Yeah,
I think it was Deep Blue. But
yeah, it was Deep Blue. Yeah.
Yeah, now at least that was shocking. He was in the middle of his speech and it grabbed him. This one, you're like, okay, you left the garage door half open. Why would you do that? The other thing is, you got to the island to broadcast this thing. Why would you spend the night? Everyone's taking their time, and then wait till the next day to broadcast, and then you're only doing it because you're under attack. Like, wasn't your whole purpose to save humanity in the first place? Now you're just sitting around eating and drinking and having dancing at night, bonfire. And
well, the other thing is
just go broadcast it already.
Because they got there by boat. They should have, they should have known that, hey, just so y'all know, this is what happened before we got here. Maybe we should keep an eye out for any other boats that may have gotten loose and those creatures are just hanging out on them.
Yeah.
Just a thought,
Yep.
It's like, but yeah. So I think it was just story wise is one of the things where they greenlit it. They wanted it now, and I like Krasinski. He writes a decent story, but at the same time, it was a whole unnecessary story, and I think he just rushed it out just to get it out there because they wanted something. So
yeah, I think personally I liked Bird Box better than Quiet Place.
Yeah,
but both were very similar in a lot of ways.
Yes.
But also similar in that I don't need a Bird Box 2. They can just stay in. The one was enough.
Yeah, and these are movies like I've never gone back and rewatched the first Quiet Place. Don't feel I need to. I
even like watching. I'm like, I had. It took me a little bit to even remember what the ending was because the ending of Bird Box was in my head. So I'm like, wait a minute, that wasn't this one. What did they do? I don't remember. Yeah. Oh well, that was.
Right. And in the first movie, is Krasinski dies. They killed the aliens that were attacking them, and then they left. And then we catch up with them in the next movie as they're moving through the world.
Yeah. So should we move on?
Yeah, we got
number one box office movie.
Yeah, this is kind of cool. $80 million at the box office or something like that, and then $60 million or something like that on Disney Plus. I forget the actual numbers. So it had a pretty huge opening, and nice thing to see is a lot of people actually went to the theater and saw it, and probably just as equally bought it on the Disney Plus.
Yeah. So what I was reading is there was a huge surge for opening day. Opening day was massive, but then there was a 80% drop or something between opening day and the second day. So the way the analysis was reading is they believe it, and it was. What's interesting is everyone's always talking about girl power and how we need girls supporting girls and girls making movies and girls doing everything, blah, blah, blah. It was like 60% men who went and saw it.
Yeah.
So it was the fanboys who carried the day for Black Widow. So go us.
Well, and I was talking about this with the group I went with, and you talk about different movies. Is I was excited for Black Widow. I really enjoyed Black Widow. That's going to be my initial response to that. Is I enjoyed it a lot. Women aren't going to there's a lot more women clamoring saying we need more of these women-led films. We need strong women. They forget about all those strong-led films of the past, Alien, Terminator. There's a lot of the list goes on.
Well, they forget them because it was the men who went and saw them.
Right. And because they didn't care, but they want strong women-led films. And it's like, okay. Right. And then they come out with stuff. You get these really crappy ones like Catwoman, it's like, and all Catwoman was, we got a hot chick. We put
Jill's
her in
leaving the house.
Bye, Jill. Have fun. Sell a house. Make me money. And Catwoman, I've never seen. Didn't care for the trailer. Thought it looked stupid. And all I've ever heard was it's not a good movie. The few you tell me, oh, it was fine. I'm sort of going, was it fine just to sit and watch Halle Berry in a skimpy outfit, or was the story actually there? And for the most part, the story, from what I understand, is not there. But then they create a movie.
Whenever they do it for the sake of doing it is the problem. Like Black Widow, they've developed this character over 12 years now. So we've been wanting this,
Yeah.
And
that's the thing is I wish we'd gotten it a little bit sooner.
Yeah, I think it would have been better if it came out after Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah, it fits right in that spot. It's directly right after Captain America: Civil War. They mentioned the Sokovia Accords, so it ties into all of that. So realistically, I think Scott said it right on his post the other day. Is this is a Phase 3 film? They may call it the start of Phase 4, but it's not really. It's just the newest Marvel Universe movie.
Yeah.
I personally call it a second epilogue to Phase 3. To help move the story forward a little bit, as well as they introduced.
I think it's more of a retcon of Phase 3 in that the Black Widow's sister is going to be in Phase 4, so they needed an origin story, so they piggybacked it onto this. Overall, I really liked the Black Widow movie. I enjoyed it, but I felt it was the bottom third of Marvel movies overall.
Which is, I agree.
Love it.
I agree. It's in the lower part of it, and I don't discount it at all. But yeah, this was a great way to say goodbye to Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. They introduced the Black Widow program, which has been known through the comics, the Red Room, all that stuff.
They also brought that up in the Peggy Carter series. We saw not the Red Room, but we saw the very origins of the Black Widow program in season 2, I believe, of Peggy Carter. Who is confirmed to come back in what movie? I forget which movie. She's coming up in one of the upcoming films for Marvel.
I forget which one. I
just read she's confirmed.
I assume she's going to be in
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, because it's the multiverse one. It'd be easy to bring her back in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I liked what the storytelling was. We got to see where Natasha Romanoff came from, her background, the fact that she kind of knew she was a Russian agent even as a child. But going forward, she did, I think that's where it all changed, is they were actually based in Ohio. Her and David Harbour and Rachel Weisz and her sister, and they all became a family and, and all that. So it was cool.
For me, the disappointment in the film was, for 12 years, we've heard about this unbelievably dark past for Natasha. And the dark past was an assassination assignment. Well, she's had a million of those. But it's this specific one. I think they ruined Taskmaster too, to be honest. I didn't like Taskmaster in this once they did the reveal.
The fact that Taskmaster was more of a drone, even though it was an organic drone, was a little disappointing on that aspect. The thing though with her dark past though is they truly didn't even explore her dark past, because her dark past this was a catalyst for her leaving Black Widow, which was part of this movie. But the darkness she had there was a lot more that she had done that they never really got into.
Yeah.
They could have done an actual limited series of Black Widow that led up to this point in the movie.
For me personally, the one thing I would have changed, I would have got rid of the Ohio story personally. I think it would have been better to have it start off with her and Hawkeye in Budapest, because we always hear about that mission and how bad it was and how hard it was. That would have been an amazing opening, is those two fighting together.
It's Budapest.
Yeah.
She
which
made
is
sure to
actually,
tell us 8 times in the film. It's Budapest.
Which is actually correct in Hungarian. But since we don't speak Hungarian, we say it.
Yeah, I found it kind of funny. She's like, Budapest.
Yeah, I actually looked it up to make sure. I'm like, what is this? And it does say in Hungary, that is how they say it in Hungarian.
Right.
So
well, the Ohio storyline was,
the
Ohio storyline was really just more of, okay, we want to introduce the David Harbour character and the Rachel Weisz characters for later on. And in some ways it's been joked about, and I kind of thought this when watching, it was like, okay, this is a nod to Fast and the Furious, because everything's about family.
Well, now when we went and saw Black Widow, we took Jill's girls with us, and her daughter Alexis had an interesting theory. The Ohio storyline takes place in 1995.
Yes. Right?
Well, in 1985, David Harbour in Stranger Things is arrested and sent to Russia.
Yep.
For 10 years, he's now been in the program, and he is now an agent for Russia.
He is the super soldier.
His friend in Stranger Things who was killed was named Alexei, which is what his name is in Russia now in Black Widow. Mm-hmm. So, like, she's like, and he had an adopted daughter he left behind through 11. And so now he has these adopted kids through his spy program.
Yes.
So I'm like, it could fit.
Yep. It was
So
kind
her
of funny.
theory is this is secretly an extension of Stranger Things.
And I could see that.
Well, Eleven's powers could fit in the Marvel universe.
Exactly. So they could be Stranger Things could be just a secret Marvel project.
Could be.
That supposedly they put the Duffer Brothers in charge of. So
What state were they in? Do you remember?
Well, for
Stranger Things. I don't remember.
I think it's Indiana.
Indiana, which is next door to Ohio.
Right.
So he would have been an expert on Ohio since he's from the Midwest, which is why he could master the Ohio accent.
Yeah.
So, I thought that was an interesting theory that she thought of. And I'm like, a little proud moment, like, wow, you've paid attention. You know your geekdom. Good job.
Yes, exactly. So, but yeah, the thing I liked about it was just it was a popcorn movie. You had a bunch of action, and I like the fact that they were making fun of themselves. Especially you got Natasha's sister making fun of the way she poses. It kept calling her a poser.
She's like, "What is this thing you do?" And she's trying to do the pose.
Yeah,
and then you flip your hair. You go like that. What is that?
Well, I like that they had her do it once though,
and then she goes, "Ew, gross."
She's like, it doesn't work.
That was funny, calling out the super. That's what Deadpool does too. Deadpool calls out the superhero landings.
Yeah.
So I like that.
And the thing is, she's always done that through. Every time she's been Black Widow, we've seen her do that drop down with the leg out pose. And
yep. Now the Red Guardian was a fun character. I liked how he's like trying to like tell all these war stories against Captain America, and then the one prisoner's like, Captain America wasn't even out of ice yet. So he's lying, and then he's like asking Natasha, has he talked about me? And she's like, really?
He doesn't even know you.
But
I'm really hoping we see the Red Guardian again. I hope like David Harbour as Red Guardian. He was fun. I think he'd be hilarious in some.
Well, they could definitely work him into either future series of Falcon and Winter Soldier with the Winter Soldier with the Super Soldier Serum. They could work him into the movies. So it definitely would be fun. And I think he said he'd be willing to come back as Red Guardian.
Yeah, I can see that. Harbour's just a good actor overall, and definitely enjoy him. And
he's a big guy naturally, so he kind of fills that role really well. The tough guy, superhero.
So, and of course, if we hadn't really told you guys, we are kind of giving spoilers here, but we did get an end credit scene for Black Widow. And the thing with this thing with the end credit scene was the movie was supposed to come out over a year ago. The end credit scene was actually more of a teaser that you would actually get the revelation for it in the Captain America Winter Soldier, because we have Julia Louis-Dreyfus playing the Contessa in the end of Black Widow that she does in the Falcon Winter Soldier. And of course, the Black Widow is setting up the Hawkeye series.
Yes.
So, because we now know who the new Black Widow is going to go after, which is Hawkeye, because she's told that he's the reason Natasha dies. Though, if you watched Endgame, you know that Natasha sacrificed herself.
Correct. But we don't know what story has gotten out to the world. We don't know how much truth is known. Is she lying, or is that what she believes? All that will unfold, I'm sure, in the Hawkeye series. My guess is she's lying.
Yeah, because I think we've got a new master manipulator here with the Julia Louis-Dreyfus character. So it's going to be interesting to see how much she's going to continue to influence some of these next movies.
And aren't they talking about I think all the elements are coming together for like a sub Avengers team, like some smaller group, like a lower cast. Like we could get the new Black Widow, we could get Red Guardian, we could get these different the Patriot or U.S. Agent. I mean, like there was another group, I forget what they were called. Yeah, and somebody was talking about how all these characters could come together to form that group that they're making.
And that's what we've seen. There's, I mean, even in Avengers, they've had like West Coast Avengers, Great Lakes Avengers.
I think this was supposed to be more like a Suicide Squad type team, if I remember right, but I don't remember.
Right, and that's gonna. I think the way they're going in it, right off the top of my head, I don't know which version they're gonna go with. I mean, we've already seen where they have at the end of which one was it? Where they introduced like the Falcon and Scarlet Witch and all them as the Avengers in the movies. They said this is our new Avengers, and
that was end of Ultron, Age of Ultron. Yep.
And of course, I'm going through a little list here. West Coast Avengers, number 1, it was Hawkeye on the cover, and the question on the cover was, who will answer Hawkeye's call to join the new team? So that's where we could get a West Coast Avengers version of this, and of course, that tied into Secret Wars, which we know we have a Secret Wars series coming. So.
Yeah, here we go. So there was a team he was with the Power Bro. Let's see, those are connections. Ah, shoot, it took away the description. But there was a team U.S. agents on, and Zemo, I think, was part of it.
Dark Avengers, I think, was one of them.
Dark Avengers, that's it. Yeah. So the Dark Avengers is what they think is being formed through the Marvel, the Marvel series on Disney Plus.
Right. And it could be Secret Avengers was another one they did. I mean, they're probably going to call it one of these. They're going to combine several of these together. In the Secret Avengers, which I don't have dates on that, the original lineup included Sharon Carter, Black Widow, Moon Knight, and Ant-Man.
And we have Moon Knight series coming.
Yeah. It also featured War Machine and Valkyrie and Nova as part of the group. So, I mean, I think we're going to see a hybrid of several of these Avengers groups come together to create this new team. And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't even go with the Avengers name at all.
Correct. I agree.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of War Machine, let's give our congratulations to Don Cheadle for getting an Emmy nomination for 90 seconds worth of standing time in The Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I thought that was hilarious.
Himself posted, I don't get it either, but okay.
Hey, I love Cheadle. I think he's a great actor. I just watched the movie on HBO Max where it's set in the 50s with him and Benicio del Toro, where it's basically centered around they're stealing my information, and it turns out it's the plans for the catalytic converter. So it's based on some actual truth set in Detroit here. So,
well, I think what this nomination proves is the people nominating actually don't even watch what they're nominating for.
Right? Yeah.
Don Cheadle's a great actor, but 90 seconds worth of standing in a scene is not powerful acting enough to get nominated for an award.
No, there's a lot of other ones they could have gone with, but again, not begrudging him because I think he's a good actor.
No, he's a great actor.
It's the people that nominated, yeah.
He probably didn't really stand there. They probably CGI'd him from another scene from another movie and just stuck it in there in the background.
He just did a voiceover half a day, yeah.
Yeah, come in and say these 3 lines and then you're done. Okay.
Yeah, it's a deep fake. So, but in terms of Black Widow, I highly recommend going to see it in the theater. I know a few people posted they bought it because they just didn't feel like going to the theaters or aren't ready to go yet on the Disney Plus. I agree with Scott. It's in the bottom 10 of the movies. I think it's a higher than a lot of the other ones. But it's the necessity of the movie was they're setting up the next phase for the certain characters, and I think it was a fine send off to Scarlett Johansson to give her the movie she should have got a couple of years earlier.
Yeah, the only disservice, like I said earlier, is I really think this movie would have had a much larger impact had they released it after Captain America Civil War. That would have been the perfect spot, because the other problem you have with this movie, and this goes back to my earlier comment with the trouble with multiverses, once you as an audience member loses your concern for the character, it's very hard to overcome that. And in this movie, we already know she survives because we know she survives for the upcoming films that takes place after this time set. So in all the fight scenes, while they were really well choreographed, there's no tension as a viewer because you know she's going to make it.
Yeah.
So that's one of the hard parts. Had this been released in 2017, a lot of these moments would have had more meaning and more tension as a viewer, and you'd be like, "Oh my, is she going to get through this?"
Especially with her last line of when she's asked what she's going to do, she goes, "I'm going to go find the Avengers," and
Right.
And get them together. It would have had a bigger impact for her getting the Avengers back together to continue on the fight.
And at least we now have the origin story of where she got the vest that she's wearing in Infinity War. So
Yes.
we now know where she got the vest from.
Yes. Which is kind of funny on that. So, but again,
I do disagree though. One thing I don't understand, maybe she's got to be like the second wealthiest Avenger. With she pays this guy to buy planes for her and helicopters and jets and like how much money does she have stashed away? She's got to be right behind Stark.
She's definitely got a lot of disposable income at her fingertips.
Yeah,
and it's got to, and I bet you it has something to do with Budapest.
Yeah. Budapest has money.
Go to Sean Connery, Budapest.
Yes. If only Sean Connery could have been in this movie, he would have been proud.
I've been with her in Budapest.
Of course, that's the one time he'd probably say it right. When he's in Budapest, he says Budapest.
It's Budapest. No, Budapest. I can't say it like that. It sounds too Scottish. I'm not trying to be Scottish today. Though I was Scottish as an Irishman in Untouchables. So,
did we cover everything?
I think we got most of it covered. We had a lot to cover the last 2 weeks. We had a lot of series. Trying to think is I've watched a couple things since I've been home, just here and there. Like I said, I watched the one on HBO Max, and it was okay. I liked Don Cheadle. It was just dragged out too much of that.
I did start watching the Mysterious Benedict Society on Disney Plus.
That's what I watched the first episode.
I am enjoying it. It's a perfect kid if you have kids and stuff.
Yep.
I think they'll love it. It does not feel like a Disney series at all to me. To me, it feels like it's Umbrella Academy mixed with
X-Men.
X-Men, mixed with maybe Harry Potter on the kid, as far as kids being involved. Hold on. Excuse me.
Yeah, I watched the first episode yesterday, and I was impressed. I'll go through the rest of it and see how they progress.
Yeah, it's interesting in that it kind of has a slow pace to it, but it's still intriguing. You got Opie from Sons of Anarchy, Ryan Hurst. He plays a very different character.
And he cracks you up in this because he's played such a tough guy these last several years between Sons of Anarchy, Walking Dead, things like that. So, but I like him as an actor. But it's funny. It looks like he did walk right off the set of Sons of Anarchy, Walking Dead, and they just threw a hat and a coat on and said, "Here you go."
Yeah. Well, it's probably in his contract he couldn't cut his hair or something for this role. So, Yeah.
So, and then what else?
That was a good one.
I watched Ice Road. Did you watch Ice Road?
Oh, no, I did not. Liam Neeson.
Yeah. Glad it's free on Netflix.
Glad it's free. Well, here's my thing. First of all, Liam Neeson has to move on. He had a certain niche. A, he's getting older for it. B, I can't take him seriously in these roles ever since he came out as anti-gun, but all he does is movies where he's shooting guns like crazy.
Right.
I'm sorry, but you can't have it both ways. You can't promote it through movies, but then talk down to people who use guns.
And the thing with this movie was it was fun to watch once. It wasn't really. It was okay to watch it once. I didn't say fun as much. And of course, he's the main thing. It was very overly predictable. So,
yeah, I think the problem is he was so good in Taken that everybody has tried to recreate Taken.
Yeah, and I was waiting for him to be as a truck driver. I have a particular set of skills.
Yeah,
and essentially he actually did that because he knew everything, even though he, wasn't driving it anymore. But he, so it was just, it was fun. I recommend watching it because it's on Netflix.
My question is, when are we going to have Darkman 4?
Well, yeah, we need Darkman 4, the final Darkman. The first movie was really good. I don't remember the other ones, but I remember the first one was really good.
And of course Qui-Gon Jinn. That's my favorite role for him. That's who he is to me, and he just needs to quit acting and only do Qui-Gon Jinn parts for the Kenobi series.
Yeah. The other thing I've watched is the first two movies. There's one more coming out this weekend. The Fear Street movies. They have Fear Street 1996, 1978, and then there's 1666 coming out. And they're based on the R.L. Stein books. And they've been fun. They take from a lot of different known horror movies, they have examples of those. So it's kind of just the typical archetypes for those tied into, this movie here, but it was fun. So yeah, Kevin's he watched that too, the Fear Street. I watched the first one last week on Thursday, and then that's 1994. That's part one, and they're each movie, so they're like 2 hours long. And then
I didn't even hear of these.
Yeah, and then the second one just came out on Sunday, I think it was, or it could come out on Friday for all I know. But and it's set in 1978, and they're going back in time, but it makes sense when you watch them.
Interesting.
So watch them as part one, part two, part three.
Okay. Good to know.
So you want to watch that one there, and it's got it's definitely a little more rated. It's rated R. I mean, it even says I saw a trailer for it on regular TV last night during the All-Star game. It was rated R. So it is definitely, if you don't let your kids watch certain things, not just the gore, but also sexual size, you don't want them watching this.
Okay.
So, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the first two, and looking forward to this third one coming out this next week because they're doing pretty quick. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh, it's the here, let me share it so people can see what I'm looking at. Mm-hmm. So here's the part two. So that's the girl from Stranger Things, the redhead.
Yeah, that's what's her name? She came in this last season of Stranger Things. So.
Definitely looks creepy.
Yeah, and it's got some, and it's not overly, I didn't feel overly scary, like it was scared. There's a couple little jump scenes, stuff like that, but it's just, there is some, definitely they build up a little tension. I like the way they're building around the main cause of everything. So they're definitely creating that universe and everything really well. And everything going on with that. So it's definitely, and there's actually a few things in it that for some of the bad guys, like the kid with the bat, they really haven't explored that kid as a killer. But there is multiple different types of killers, in these different movies. So, so I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. And it's definitely not the Goosebumps, from R.L. Stein. This is, like I said, it's an adult version of these stories.
But he's the originator of this.
Yeah, he's part of that. Yeah. So,
he's like, someone probably made fun of him, like, all you can do is write kid stuff. He's like, oh yeah, I'll show you.
Yeah, these were originally teenage horror books that he did. He started in 1989. It says 95 series of books inspired by the series called Ghosts of Fear Street, created for younger readers, and then were more like Goosebumps. But then there was Fear Street Senior spinoff in 99. So he definitely, they took that basic teenage premise and they upped it a level because, and a lot of teenagers are ones that are starring in it. So they're kind of deal with that aspect, but it's definitely not for kids. So, but I was surprised. I watched the first one. I was like, I really enjoyed this. And I just happened to look over the weekend when I got home from work and I was like, oh, the other one's up already. I was thinking it would be like a month away or so. And they're really dropping pretty quick. So
another thing I've been watching is I started watching Evil season 2.
Yeah, Kevin told me he started watching that too.
Yeah, so I'm only the first episode in, but
I have to watch that too. So I haven't seen that yet.
I feel like I should have gone back and watched the last couple one or two episodes of the season 1 to refresh me because it took me like half of the episode just to try to get my brain back to okay, what was going on.
Yeah, Kevin told me in Vegas, he goes, you need to go back and watch at least the last episode. So I'm gonna probably do that. Go back and watch the ending of the first season to refresh myself because it's been so long. Yeah, and then go into that first episode.
Yeah, because it really did take me half the episode just to kind of like what is going on. But
yeah, because it's been a year and a half or more since it's been out.
Like it, yeah,
and it's online streaming only, so it's not on regular TV yet. So and when they do, they'll edit it from that because they do have a little. I understand they have a little more language in that one. So
yeah, so I definitely I'm enjoying it again. It's a creepy show in some ways, but I feel they do a good job. So
yeah, so I definitely recommend that. So
very good.
So and then Fear Street and that. So hey, next week we get to cover the final episode of Loki. We have a new Bad Batch to cover. And then we're going to promote the new Kickstarter for
starting
Poe
next week.
Macabre number 3. We'll have a new video up ready for that too. So definitely look forward to that.
We also have Gem City Comic-Con coming up.
Yep. In fact, actually, next week's episode, we may not talk too much of the series because we're gonna have Rodney with us next week.
Yep.
Kevin said he could probably join us as long as his work schedule works out. So we're gonna do promo for Rodney Fikes Hasm Productions Kickstarter Pitter Patter, the Poe Macabre 3. We'll talk Gem City, which unfortunately Scott has not been able to make it to this year.
No.
So, but that's fine. He's gonna be with us in Tampa, so we're looking forward to that. So
so we're gonna have back-to-back weekends of Comic-Cons. We gotta get back into Comic-Con shape so we can survive back to do all this. But yeah, Tampa is the 30th through August 1st. I did post an event page on Odd Musings and everything. So if you're in the Tampa area and you're going to be going there, go find our event page. It's posted on Odd Musings, Bardstone, all those things. If you want to pre-buy anything, you can do it through the website, through the event page. You can message us for commissions or whatever you want.
We'll have all the new comics, some of the old comics, as well as a limited amount of prints available. So,
yeah, it's going to be an experience. We got to get used to figure out how are we going to travel with all this stuff. And I know how my setup was for when I did purely prints, but books weigh a lot. So I don't know how this is going to work. But
we get off the air, I got to show you something that we've already purchased that you may like.
Perfect. All right.
So, hey, join us next week, guys. I'm glad to be back. Look forward to seeing you next time. We'll keep you all updated on the shows. Till then, adios.